Hello and welcome to the class of 2024. We are so excited to have you with us today for your pirate adventure. My name is Nicole Giglia and I'm the Associate Director for Student Life, but today I'll be serving as your moderator for the Peer Advisor panel. The peer advisors will share a little bit about themselves and are here to answer any questions about life as a student at Seton Hall. Please feel free to send us questions in the chat box on the right side of your screen. So let's kick things off by meeting Anne Marielle Jerez. AM?
Hi everyone, I'm Anne Marielle. I am a rising senior. I'm from Parsippany, New Jersey, and my major is political science. And I chose Seton Hall because I really like the small community feel environment we had to offer. So I'm going to kick it over to Anne Marie Ryan.
Hi guys, as AM said, my name is Anne Marie Ryan. I'm a rising junior nursing major with a music minor. I'm from Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin, and I chose Seton Hall because I got into the Buccino Leadership Institute. And now I'm going to kick it off to Kate Doyle.
Hi everyone, as Anne-Marie said, my name is Kate Doyle. I am a rising junior diplomacy and international relations student, also on track to double major in modern languages, and I'm from Mount Laurel, New Jersey, which is in South Jersey, and I chose Seton Hall specifically for the diplomacy program because of its uniqueness compared to similar programs at other colleges. And now I'm going to kick it off to Kadeem Leslie.
Hey everyone, my name is Kadeem Leslie. I am a rising senior at Seton Hall University. My major is economics and music, and my hometown is Kingston, Jamaica. What brought me to Seton Hall was everyone was just so nice. The admission teams was perfect, and compared to everyone else, the professionalism was out of this world, and that's why I'm here.
Well, thank you to our panelists for joining us today. You'll also have a chance to meet your own PA at our first year and your first year advisor today at 1 o'clock for PA connections and registration. So be sure to check your SHU email for that invitation. If you already accepted the invitation, you should see a join link in the calendar tab of the Teams app. So our first question today is for AM. AM, what is a PA and what do they do to help first year students?
Thank you for that question, Nicole. So let me just start off. This is my third year as a peer advisor, and I absolutely love it. I love working with first year students and, getting to meet familiar faces. So basically, a PA is what we like to call your first friend on campus. And basically, we're a resource and a guide for our first year students and how to get through Seton Hall during the first year, how to make that transition from high school to college much more simpler. We're also a kind of a teaching assistant in their university life course, which meets once a week with their first year advisor. And we share our personal experiences from a student perspective and how we got through our first year and how to get through Seton Hall successfully.
Thank you, AM. So Anne-Marie, this next question is for you. As an out-of-state student, what would you say was the biggest adjustment you had to make when coming to Seton Hall?
So coming from out of state, I didn't know anyone when I came to Seton Hall. I mean, I'm from Wisconsin, so it's pretty far away, but I just knew when I came here that there was this kind of welcoming feeling at Seton Hall. So I didn't really feel like I was that far from home because I did feel like I found my new home at Seton Hall. I think the biggest adjustment for me was being away from my family, but getting involved and meeting new people really helped alleviate that anxiety from being so far away.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Kate, what is Seton Hall like on the weekends? What is there to do?
So on the weekends, there are a lot of different opportunities for students to really get involved in the campus community. What I specifically love about Seton Hall is the Housing and Residence Life office puts together a first 56 days when you first start out at Seton Hall, and each of the days, the first 56 days, which commemorates the 1856 date of our school is there's always something that is planned every day for students to do. So there's never any reason that you can't get involved or have something to do or be bored on campus, because there's always something to do for those first 56 days. And that kind of opens up opportunities for students to find things to get involved with. So a lot of the clubs will be putting on events. There's an involvement fair so that you can find different clubs and organizations that you would like to get involved in. There's also plenty of opportunities to go and explore New York City because it's only a train ride away from South Orange. There's also the town of South Orange, which has a lot of different places to eat and hang out. There's also sports games that you can attend. We have different sports such as baseball, basketball. So there's different seasons for those, so you can always go to those. Or you can also get involved in DOVE, which is the Division of Volunteer Efforts, and they put on a lot of programs on the weekends specifically so that you can go out into the community and serve the community in different aspects. So plenty of opportunities, you just have to take advantage of them.
Thank you, Kate. So our next question is for Kadeem. Is there really a big difference between high school and college coursework? And if so, what are some tips you have for managing that adjustment?
Great question. So I'd say the first difference between college coursework and high school coursework is that there's definitely more research involved. College is pretty much applying what you learned and what you will learn more than memory. No, don't get me wrong. Memory is still important, but you actually do get to apply, work with real life professionals. Even being so close to New York City, you get to work with active professionals in the field. And that's a big thing about college.
Great, thank you, Kadeem. So AM, we have some questions about commuter life. What is it like to commute, and can you touch a little bit upon parking?
So when it comes to commuting, I've kind of had two different experiences. So my first year, I didn't have a car yet, so I took the train. You know, I required waking up a little earlier because it wasn't exactly on my schedule. And at times it was difficult, but there is a shoe fly that transports students from the train station to school and then back as well. So that put me at ease. And then my second year, and from then on, I've gotten a car and I've been commuting. And parking, we have a parking deck, and then there's an outside lot by the upperclassmen dorms, and it's not too bad. I mean, you'll always find a space. I know you might have to go up further levels as the day continues, but it's not as bad. That you'll always find a parking spot.
Thanks, AM. So Kadeem, this question is for you. What is your favorite place in South Orange?
Great question. So the first thing I'd say is, well, actually, I have three answers. Is that okay? I have three answers.
Yes.
There are 3 parks in South Orange, and all of them are fantastic. The Duck Pond is the first one, Grove Park is the second, and then there's, I think it's called Irvington Park, is literally right next door to Seton Hall. They're all great. My favorite one is the Duck Pond, because when the ducks are there, they're just peaceful. It's a great place to read. It's a great place to study, and barely anyone is there at 10 o'clock in the morning. So definitely for lunch breaks, it's the place to be.
Great, thank you, Kadeem. So AM, we have a question from someone who wants to know how they can become a PA.
That's an amazing question. Honestly, if everyone could become a PA, that would be great. So during your first semester, you can't become a PA during your freshman year. You have to be a student first to go through your freshman year, but the application starts around December, I want to say. You have to attend an info session to learn about the PA position. And then after that, you can start the application process. There's 2 rounds of interviews that you have to go through. one with 2 PA coordinators, and then one with the peer advisor supervisors. It's sometimes it could seem like an overwhelming process, but at the end of the day, it's very worth it. And I encourage everyone to apply. It's a really great position to be in.
Thank you, Anne. Anne-Marie, can you talk a little bit about what the game day atmosphere is like in South Orange? I'm assuming this person meant basketball, but if you can talk a little bit about what it's like to attend some pirate sports events.
Absolutely. So being a pirate is the greatest thing ever. We have so much fun at all of our games. There's so much like camaraderie when it comes to our school spirit. I know personally I go all out when it comes to school spirit. I like to dress in full blue, everything blue and white. And we have our Bluebeard Army, which is our student section, and that's always really fun. And they have really fun themes sometimes with the games, and you'll never feel like the stands are empty because there's so much fun at those games. You get in line for those buses over to the Prudential Center. You line up outside and you wait the half hour before the game starts, and you run to the front of the court to get the spot up in front. And it's super fun to go with your friends and organizations, and the pep band's great, and the games are always super fun, even if we don't win. But for the most part, we do like to win, so it's always a good time.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. So Kate, our next question is about what is it like to live in the residence halls at Seton Hall?
So the residence halls at Seton Hall, I've lived on them for the past 2 years, and then I'll also be living on for my junior year as well. And I've really enjoyed living in a dorm, specifically because I've been able to meet a lot of my friends and become very close to them because of living in dorms. I've met other students that commute through my classes and everything, but it's a different experience when you're living with people 24/7, and you really get the opportunity to get to know them very well. And my first year, I lived in Bowling on the north side, and I loved living in the suites. I got to know people down my hallway, got to know my RA very well, and I loved the little, hangouts like in the Bolin cellar and things like that. And even going over to Aquinas and seeing some of my other friends that lived in Aquinas, I just loved being able to have that during our downtime to just kind of hang out and get to know people. And that's why last year I lived in Cabrini. I'm living in Cabrini again because Cabrini is low-key the best upperclassmen dorm there is. So I just love living there and being able to be close to all of my friends.
Thanks, Kate. And I know there's also some specific questions about housing. I will say that our housing staff has informed us that we will be low density in the fall, which means no more than 2 people to a room. So all resident students should have gotten an email about the process for selecting roommates and what that might look like. So be sure to pay attention to your Seton Hall email for that. The selection period will end June 30th. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the housing staff as well. There's also a parent panel regarding housing, which more information for that can be found on the parent orientation page. So our next question is for Kadeem. Kadeem, how would a student get an on-campus job?
All right, good question. So on-campus jobs are available. A quick Google search. I think it's Seton Hall employment opportunities, and it will come up with probably be the first or second option that's there, and you'll see right on Google. What I would recommend is not only sending in your application, but go speaking to people. It's different when people can match a name to a face. It makes them, more likely to hire you. Oftentimes it helps, when, they consider you to be a part of them already. That's a good thing to do.
Thank you, Kadeem. And we're getting a lot of questions about the rec center. Is it free for students? How would a student access our gym facilities?
The rec center is just a great. The rec center is a great place to just unwind. It is free, so all you really need to get in is your Seton Hall ID, and they just swipe you at the front desk, and then you're good to go. There are 2 floors to the gym. You know, there's free weights, there's a yoga room, lots of treadmills, and it's just a great place to kind of unwind, you know, do your exercising. And then there's also there's like a basketball court that everyone can, you know, just hang out in and, you know, like play basketball. And there's also a track around that you can run on if you don't want to go on the treadmill. And there's also a locker room you could put your stuff in down the basement of the rec center. And all you need is your student ID to access everything.
Thanks, AM. Let's see. So kind of going off of that, Kadeem, how would a student get involved in intramurals?
Oh, of course. Intramurals is one of the best parts of Seton Hall Rec Center life. Everything from basketball intramurals to soccer intramurals, which I'm a part of. You can be on my team, don't worry. To football intramurals, to I think volleyball too. Pretty much every sport there is. We do have intramurals for it. It's so the way it works is you form your team, you have a captain, the captain gets the form, the captain signs them on, and then you show up on the day, they text message you this day, and boom, you're competing with many other great players from around campus. It's a really great way to make friends. I would suggest just going to the rec center, talking to the people who work there, and talk to the people who are playing. You'll maybe find yourself on a team come September.
Thank you, Kadeem. Kadeem, do you have a championship that you can tell us about?
I came really close. Came so close. So we were knocked out in the semifinals, and I was pretty disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. But we'll be coming back next year. We should have come back this year, but you know, sad we had to go home. But this year, definitely, we're going for it again.
All right. Well, we'll be rooting for you, Kadeem. Our next question is for Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, how would you advise a student to make friends on campus?
Absolutely. So making friends on campus, I know, can be a super nerve-wracking thing for many people. My biggest advice to you is get involved. Get involved in things that you're interested in, because then you're going to find people who are also interested in the same things as you, and you're going to find people who have common interests. The other thing too is hang out in the Cove, in the caf, in the library, in your dorms, and just like know that everyone is kind of in the same boat, and it's okay to just walk up to someone and introduce yourself. And you'll also make friends sometimes in your classes when you have to do group projects and things like that. Your best friendships, I always say, will happen naturally, but definitely to help with that initially is definitely get involved.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Kate, our next question is for you. Can you talk about Greek life? How did you decide to get involved, and what is the process for students who want to join a fraternity or sorority?
So I specifically went into Seton Hall knowing that I was a little bit interested in Greek life. I had been watching some YouTube videos about college life in general leading up to my freshman year, and a lot of people were in Greek life. So I kind of came into Seton Hall like with an idea of that. And what I really liked about all of our councils for Greek life is that they put on different events specifically for first-year students and any other students that may have transferred onto a campus that are interested in Greek life, because unfortunately as freshmen you're not able to rush for a fraternity or a sorority until the spring because you have to have your GPA factored in your ability to rush. So for the first semester they put on different events so that you can kind of get to meet the different organizations, find out what they're about, so that you can make that decision in the spring whether you would like to move forward with that or not. We have a couple of different councils, like I said. with the different Greek organizations. So we have CPC, which oversees the women's fraternities. We have the IFC, which oversees the men's fraternities. We have the Multicultural Greek Council, which oversees all of the multicultural Greek organizations, including the Latinx Greek organizations. And then we also have the NPHC, which oversees the historically African American Greek organizations, which includes fraternities and sororities. So there are a couple of different types of Greek organizations that you can get involved in, but definitely when you come in on the fall, the involvement fair, all of the organizations will be there, so you'll have the opportunity to meet them at first, get to know them and see what they're all about, and then you can kind of go from there and attend their events all throughout the fall semester so that you can make your decision in the spring.
Thank you, Kate. All right, Anne-Marie, this is a very important question. I hope you're ready. Can you talk about how the food on campus is and maybe tell us what your favorite CAF meal is?
Absolutely. So I personally love our CAF. There's so many different options. We have a sushi bar, we have pizza, we have pasta, we have make your own stir fry, there's burgers and chicken tenders and fries, and literally there's something for everyone. We also have a vegan station, vegetarian vegan station. We also have food for those who have allergies and things like that, so gluten allergies. So there's definitely something for everyone. My favorite meal on campus would probably be chicken tenders on Wednesdays. I do enjoy the chicken tenders or the broccoli cheddar soup, which comes up occasionally. It's always a treat when it comes up.
There you go. That's some inside scoop knowledge. Thank you, Anne-Marie. All right, Kadeem, what is something you wish you knew before coming to Seton Hall?
All right, one thing I wish I knew before I came to Seton Hall is that the library is actually a pretty cool place to hang out. You know, for most of us, definitely for me, I didn't really hang out in the library that much in high school, but in college, well, especially at Seton Hall, everybody goes to the library at some point. 2 o'clock in the morning, you'll see the library is packed with people on the second floor because it's just the nicest place to hang out.
Thank you, Kadeem. All right, so our next question is for AM. We have a student who's interested in starting their own club on campus. How would they go about doing that?
Thank you, Nicole, for that question. That is a really great question. We have over 150 clubs and organizations on at Seton Hall, and it just keeps growing every year. You can go to student government, and then they usually start out applications for new organizations and clubs to start on campus. And, you know, Seton Hall is very open to that, and that's where you would go to do that process. And we have so many things to offer, like student government, like I said, student activities board, and Habitat for Humanity. Those are just a few of the many organizations we have to offer at Seton Hall.
And AM, can you tell us a little bit about some of the other groups that you were involved in?
So my first year, I kind of did a little bit with Flash, which is like the Filipino League at Seton Hall. And that's just a great way, you know, to just meet new people and to meet people from other majors. Student Activity Board, I know, does a lot. They host like the involvement fair and things like that. So there's so many things to get involved with. Thank you.
Okay, Kate, our next question is for you. Can you explain what the resources are we have for students who are seeking our counseling and psychological services? How would they do that, and what is the process like for someone getting an appointment?
So as you said, counseling and psychological services, or also known as CAPS, is our counseling service on campus. It's located on the second floor of Mooney Hall, and they offer a wide range of different services for students that may be struggling in different areas. Upon an initial assessment of the things that you're going through, they can they can offer a couple of different options to you. They hold individual counseling sessions that are more short term. So you would come in for a couple of different sessions and you would talk to one of the psychologists on duty. And they also have group sessions as well. So if there's a group of students that are struggling with a particular issue, like I know that some of them have anxiety workshops and meditation workshops and things of that nature that kind of help students get to the root of their problem and have a support system of other students as well that are also struggling with that issue to kind of help them through that. Another big one too is just adjusting to college life, because some students can really struggle when they first get onto campus, you know, being away from home, having more of a school workload. So those group sessions are definitely very helpful with that. And then if the situation is a little bit more different, they can also advise you to go to an outside counselor if needed. So they're a really good resource for students. Just in the event that you're having a hard time on campus, they're always available to you.
Thank you, Kate. All right, so let's see. Anne Marie, what sort of time management tips do you have for students?
Sure. So time management is a skill that you'll want to have for your entire life, but especially in college, because it comes down to juggling your social life, your activities, and your schoolwork. You're here for school first and foremost, so don't forget that. But it's also important to stay involved and meet new people and live out your social life as well. So managing that time is really important. So something that helps me a lot is I like to write everything down. That doesn't work for everyone, but I like to keep a calendar, know when my assignments are coming up, and just work that around all of my activities and other things, because then I can, if I don't do that, I can get really overwhelmed with everything that I have going on. And it's really important to keep school at the forefront of your education, especially at your time in the university.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Kadeem, we have a question for you about being an international student. What are some adjustments for you that you had to make coming to New Jersey?
Great question. One thing I would say is it's very difficult to put your culture away and, you know, come and try to fit in and, you know, just be someone who you're not. My advice to you is once you come to Jersey, once you come to Seton Hall, be who you are. You know, inform people about your culture and tell people about what's back home. It may even help you, you know, to cope better with being away from your family so much. So I advise you to, you know, connect with people. There are also probably people on campus who may share similar heritage with you. You know, there are people here from Japan, there are people here from Germany, there are people here from Ireland, there are people here from Brazil, all over the world. So, I mean, even for me, in my year, I wasn't the only Jamaican who came to Seton Hall. There was actually 5. So you're never alone, is what I'm saying.
Thank you, Kadeem. AM, can you talk about what it's like for a student who's interested in getting an internship? Where should they go? When should they start?
So if you're looking for an internship, it is never too early to start. The Career Center is going to be your best friend when looking for an internship. You each get an advisor depending on your major at the Career Center, and they'll help you walk through everything, your resume, how to do an interview, setting up your LinkedIn, things like that. And twice a year, one for each semester, they host a career fair, and you get to meet, you know, multiple employers from different fields and backgrounds, and it's a really great place to just start your networking. Even if you're not specifically looking for an internship right away, I would suggest you going your first semester. They have one in the fall, and it's just a great way to, you know, just scout a little bit and see what you may be interested in. And you know, you'll get some business cards to contact some people, and you know, as you move up through Seton Hall, you may find yourself wanting to intern at a specific place that you found at the Career Center.
Thank you, AM. Kate, we have a student who's asking questions about where should they go if they feel like they need help with a class. What are the tutoring options? And can you talk a little bit about the Academic Resource Center as well?
Yeah, definitely. So we provide a couple of different academic services that are catered towards different problems that you may be having with your studies. So as Nicole mentioned, we do have the Academic Resource Center, or the ARC, and that is kind of the main place to get started if you don't know really where to go with your tutoring. They have, what I like about it is they have both undergraduate and graduate students that offer tutoring to students. So I like that aspect of it more, because sometimes something just may not be clicking with how your professor is explaining it to you, but as a student tutor, they may understand like a different way to explain a subject to you that you may understand more. So I really like that the ARC utilizes the student tutors for that aspect. So they kind of do a couple of different things, and they have tutors for different subjects. And then we also have the Tutors and Residents, which are students that live in the residence halls, Boland, Aquinas, and Xavier, and they're available to you during the hours that the ARC really is not. So they're more extended hours for students. They're open to both resident students and commuter students too. So all you would have to do is go to the Tutors and Residents office in that dorm, and they'll be able to help you in a variety of different subjects. We also have the Writing Center, which is located on the 3rd floor of the library. That is specifically for any questions related to your writing, your essays. They'll proofread your essays. They'll help you get started on your essays. And they also have a mix between students that help you and also professors. And then we also have the Math Learning Lab, which is right next to the ARC in Arts and Sciences. And they'll specifically help you in different math-related subjects. So we have a very wide variety of different places that you can go to. But definitely, if you're having trouble trying to find what's best for you, definitely head over to the ARC, and they'll be able to help you from there.
Thank you, Kate. Okay, so Anne-Marie, one of our favorite things about Seton Hall is how close it is to New York City. Can you explain how a student can easily get in and out of South Orange to get to New York City?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm from Wisconsin, so I had never been to the big city until I came to Seton Hall, and it was super exciting for me because like you hear so much about the city, and it's a very iconic location in our nation, and so it was really awesome for me to be so close to it. So actually at Seton Hall, we have a student shuttle that takes you from campus to areas around downtown South Orange, and one of the shuttle stops on the Shoe Fly is the train station. You get on the train, it's about $7.25 ticket into the train, about 40 minute train ride. It takes you right into Penn Station, and then from there you can walk around the city. I know I go to Broadway shows all the time. I know SAB does travel events, and they'll do discounted Broadway tickets, and that's I love Broadway, so that's kind of my draw into the city. But it's fun to go with your friends and to hang out in the downtown Times Square and things like that. And it's so nice to have it so close. And I've been so many times. And before coming to Seton Hall, in my 18 years of life before then, I had never been, and now I've been more times than I can even count. So it's definitely really fun.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. So Kadeem, you are a busy guy. Can you talk to us how you manage spending time on campus and schoolwork and also commuting?
Definitely, I can. So the first thing I would say is being on campus is fun, you know? Okay, let me not say don't, that's too strong. What I would say is I would advise you in the first weekend being on campus, stay on campus, you know, like try to be around as much as possible, because it's so easy to go back home, you know, it's so easy to say, you know, I don't want to take the trip on Saturday because I don't have classes, I don't have class on Sunday either. I would advise you, just wake up midday on Saturday, the first Sunday, and just go be on campus, just talk to people. Second thing is the library, the green, the living room, the CAF. People can sign you in. These are places that everyone hangs out. So you don't necessarily have to go to your dorm, go to someone else's dorm, but you could also meet people even at Dunkin'. Dunkin' is a great place to hang out. The third and last thing I'll say is that you have Commuter Hall. Commuter Hall means that once you have it, you can sign in yourself without having someone sign you into the dorms between the hours of 9 and I think 4:30 in the afternoon, which is pretty great because let's say your friend has class, you can go up to their dorm while they're in class, and then you can meet each other upstairs, and you have kind of have a wonderful afternoon. So things like that make it a lot easier to be a commuter. So definitely take my advice, just throw yourself in there.
Thank you, Kadeem. In a similar question, AM, what's your favorite place to hang out on campus, and what are some of the other study spots that students can utilize?
So Seton Hall, there's so many great places that you can just hang out in and, you know, hang out with friends or just get some work done by yourself. My personal favorite is the library. All year round, I mean, you get a little bit of everything. If you're on the main floor of the library, you know, you can bump into your friends in there because most people are down on the second floor and you can get your work done together. I know during finals, that's a great place where I hang out because usually some of my classmates are in there studying for the same exams, and we go through them together and we find more people and just end up having like a study group. And then this third and fourth floors of the library, if you kind of want to get away from everyone else and just want some quiet time to yourself to get all your work done, those are, you know, they have mini cubicles for yourself that you can, you know, there's an outlet for your laptop and you can get all your work done. And as a commuter, sometimes I get home late and I would like to get all my work done at school. So definitely the library. But I know in each building they have like little areas that you can, quiet areas that you can get your work done in. I know in Jubilee, if towards the second floor, towards the back, there's like a little area with vending machines and tables and chairs that, you know, you can just sit there, relax and get your work done. You can have lunch there if the cove is too full, or if by outside the main cafeteria, if that area is full, you know, there's microwaves and stuff there also. So that's also a great place.
Thank you, AM. Okay, Anne-Marie, we have a student who's curious about the different clubs and events and programs that come from campus ministry. Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be involved with that office?
Campus ministry does a lot on campus. They have wonderful events that they do, and they also are really involved in our community service through Dove and things like that. Every Wednesday they have grilled cheese events in the campus ministry lounge, which is in the bottom of the Bolin Hall. And they do adoration in the chapel. They do live music events. There's a house that they have, a women's house that they own, where people can go and live, and they do live events there and dinners there. They also have the men's house where they can go, where you can go and they'll have like fun music events there as well. And there's always something for everyone, even if you're not involved in your faith or you're not religious. They're just a great community, and they're always very welcoming to anyone and everyone who wants to join them in all of their events that they do.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. We have a ton of great questions coming in about registration, what a typical course load looks like. So those are awesome questions for your first year advisor, who you'll get to meet at 1 o'clock. During your PA connections and registration time. So just a reminder to everyone to check your SHU email for that invitation to that Teams meeting. If you've already accepted it, the invitation will be on your calendar, and you can click join from your calendar tab to be a part of that meeting at 1 o'clock. But we do have a question for Kate. Kate, what's the process for changing your major?
So speaking of your first year advisor, if you're interested in changing your major, it is very, very, very important that you go to your first year advisor first, just to discuss your plans and kind of how you're feeling about your current major and why you want to change, because they're going to have a lot more information for you than what you would be able to find in the course catalog or things like that. And there's a lot more that goes into it about making that decision. So it's really important that you discuss it with your first year advisor first, whether that is something that you are thinking about now or in a couple of months or towards the end of next year. It's definitely important to go to them first. If you're interested in doing that now before you start registering for classes, that's something that is very important to mention to your first year advisor during the registration period starting at 1 o'clock. But after that, once you've discussed it with your first year advisor and you guys have made a plan for that, they can go over more in depth with the steps towards that, but you would go onto your SHU portal through PirateNet and go to the academics tab, and it's a pretty easy process. It's going towards one of the tabs, and they kind of take you through the steps of changing your major that way. But definitely important to talk to your first year advisor first before making that decision.
Thank you, Kate. Anne-Marie, what is the Buccino Leadership Institute and what has your experience been like involved in that program?
So like I said, the Buccino Leadership Institute is the reason why I'm at Seton Hall. I was reached out to my senior year of high school when I was applying to Seton Hall and was offered a position on in the Institute for our nursing leadership program. So most recognizable, it's been around in the business school for about 11 years now. And then for the past 3 years, this will be our 3rd year coming in now, we've expanded it university-wide for all the other schools in the university. In that program, I have gotten one-on-one leadership coaching. We've gotten hands-on experience. I've led my own team. I've gotten to draft my own team. I've worked interdisciplinary with other schools in the university. And I work hands-on with administrators, deans, and other people within the university who have really honed in on my own leadership skills. Our first year, we talk about leading yourself. Our second year, we talk about leading others. And then from there, we just grow. And then in terms of the business school, they do internships. You get connections with so many different people, and your network is unlimited when you're a part of a program like this. And it's really going to set me apart for others. If you haven't had the chance to apply for your incoming year, we do have the opportunity for you to apply from freshman to sophomore year. So if you didn't get that opportunity now, don't worry. There are other opportunities to join the program later on as well.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. So our last question, I'm going to ask each of our panelists to answer, and we'll start with AM. AM, what is your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
Definitely around like November and December time. I'm a very big basketball fan, so going to Seton Hall was very exciting, especially this past season. That any basketball game or event, even ones that I cannot attend, I usually try to catch on TV. We're very supportive of our school sports and very big on team spirit. So definitely around that season, and also Christmas time. I don't know if we still have the title now, but in past years, I think we're voted as like one of the #1 Christmas school. And when we light our tree, it's just a very exciting time. We have performances, and everyone gets a Santa hat, and it's just very exciting.
Thank you, AM. Kate, what is your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event?
So I think it would definitely be welcome weekend. I've always been the type of person that has loved back to school time, so I love getting to meet the incoming freshmen and kind of guide them through all of the welcome weekend events, and getting to end it with our Blue Day celebration, which is just a celebration for all of the incoming students. We all hang out on the green and have a really great time. I just feel like that is like the epitome of what Seton Hall is about, is that community and getting together and to celebrate, and also green season. So I just love that first weekend, and it's just a great way to kick off the year. So.
Thank you, Kate. Kadeem, can you tell us what your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event is?
Of course. My favorite Seton Hall tradition is definitely not stepping on the seal. Everyone follows that rule. Everyone. You don't, people who don't even come to Seton Hall yet, who have been to Seton Hall for years, who have graduated, have grandchildren, come and they will walk around the seal. The saying is that if you step on the seal, you won't graduate in 4 years, unless you run from the seal to the pirate and kiss the pirate's foot in front of the rec center. And no one wants to do that. So people walk around it all the time. Even bicycle riders will ride around it. And it's awesome to see.
Thank you, Kadeem. And Anne-Marie, if you can end us with your favorite Seton Hall tradition or event.
Definitely. So like Anne said, I also really love Christmas at the Hall. Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, and we do have a fantastic Christmas celebration. But also, like I said earlier, in terms of calf food, we have chicken tenders on every Wednesday and at the open houses as well. And the chicken tenders are always really good. And so I always love going into the calf on Wednesdays and finding those chicken tenders and fries.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If we didn't get to your question, we'll be adding them to a frequently asked questions list on the Pirate Adventure website, but we also encourage you to ask your PA throughout Pirate Adventure. Your next meeting will be with your PA and your first year advisor, which you can join by going into your Seton Hall email and accepting your invitation to the Teams meeting. If you've already accepted it, please go on to the Teams app and click join from the calendar. Thank you. We hope you have a great day.